Hey everybody, today we're on 10-3 in the Green Book, Squares and Square Roots on page 276. The objectives here are to find the square root of a perfect square, to understand negative square roots of perfect squares, and then to simplify expressions involving perfect squares and square roots. So, finding the square of a number is multiplying any number by itself or raising it to the second power. So it looks like this. So if we have 2 and we're multiplying it by itself, right, 2 times 2 should be 4. When we do that using exponents, or squaring numbers, it's going to look like this: 2 squared. Okay? 3 squared would equal 3 times 3, right? If we had 4 squared, that would be 4 times 4. Okay? Then we're going to talk about perfect squares, which are squares of just natural counting numbers. So that's 1 squared, which equals 1. 2 squared, which equals 4, so 4 is a perfect square. 5 squared, which equals 25, that 25 is a perfect square. 100 is a perfect square because that's 10 squared. Okay? Alrighty, so just to recap, when you're squaring a number, all you're doing is multiplying it by that number, or that number by itself. Okay? Perfect squares are the squares of natural counting numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and all the way up. Okay? To an infinite amount. Alright, the square root then of a number is a number that equals the original number when multiplied by itself. So when you square a number, you take 2 times 2, which is 2 squared, which equals 4. So the square root is kind of opposite of that. It'll look like this. It'll have this radical sign. Looks like a little funky division sign. This is a radical sign. Okay, this is your radical. Right there. Okay? And inside of it is a number that you are square rooting, or kind of reverse squaring in a way. Kind of like inverse. It's actually totally inverse. Squaring a number, and I want you to have this in your notes, squaring a number and square rooting a number are inverse operations, just like how multiplication and division are inverse operations. Squaring and square rooting are inverse, so they're opposite, so they can undo each other. Okay? So then in here we have 36, just as any kind of number. So the square root of 36, so what number times itself equals 36? Correct, everybody, it would be 6. Okay? Alrighty, so remember this little sign right here is called your radical sign. Okay? A principal square root is also called, wait, that should say positive, hold on. That's better. A positive square root is also called the principal square root. Oops. There we go. So, what that means is this, okay? When you are doing the square root of 36, okay, it is 6, but you could also do negative 6 times a negative 6, right, and still get a positive 36. So, a positive square root, and by that I mean the number inside your radical sign is positive, then your answer will be both positive and negative. There's 2 different answers here. So it's not just 6, it is positive 6 and negative 6. Okay? Alright. Let's demo it. Okay, so right now what I want you guys to do is to put the answers to these 3 questions. So we have the square root of 225, the square root of 144, and the square root of 196. Remember that both of, as long as your square roots on the inside of your radical sign are positive, then your answers will have 2 answers. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So we can pause it and then hit play whenever you're ready to see the answers. Okay, so the square root of 225 is going to be a positive 15 and a negative 17. The reason why I'm not writing it like this is just because it's similar to me and I understand what that means. If you're more comfortable to write it like this, then write it like that. That's totally fine. Okay? Alright, the square root of 144 is going to be a positive 12 and a negative 12. And the square root of 196 is going to be a positive 13 and a negative 13. Okay, so now we're going to go into simplifying expressions, radical expressions, okay? So if we have this right here. So right here we have, under the radical sign, the negative 8 squared minus a negative 5 squared plus 10. Alright, that's what we're going to do. So remember, if you, oh, I'm sorry, this is a negative. Sorry. Oops, oopsie. There we go. Oops, there we go. Okay. Alrighty, so let's simplify within the square root. So this is how we're going to do this. 8 squared is going to be 64. Okay. 10 just stays as a positive 10. This is the part where a lot of you are going to get all messed up because you're going to think it's a double negative. So it's positive. That's not true. Remember, when you have a negative inside of a parentheses and you're squaring it, that negative stays with it. So this is saying negative 5 times negative 5, which is a positive 25. Okay? But we also have this negative right here. So this is going to go right here, and it's going to be subtracting a positive 25. Okay? I know, super confusing. Okay? So we have 64 minus 25 plus 10. Okay? So it's really 74 minus 25, which is going to be positive 49, which is going to be 7. Okay? So you're just going to want to simplify within the square root. That's pretty much it. Let's do one more. Let's pick one. Oh, this is a good one. Let's do the square root of 64. Minus the square root of 9. Okay, now, first things here, since we're not in the same radical sign, we're just going to simplify each radical and then do the math. So the square root of 64 is 8 minus the square root of 9 is 3. So 8 minus 3 is going to be 5. Okay? Let's do this one. This is a good one. Square root of 196 plus the square root of 25 minus 16. Okay? So we know the square root of 196 is going to be 13, because we're super smart, plus the square root of 25 minus 16. So 25 minus 16 we know is 9. The square root of 9 is going to be 3. So we have 13 plus 3, which equals 16. Okay? I am so sorry, I messed up. The square root of 196 is not 13, it's 14. I know I messed that up. See, this is what happens, because you're smart, I'm just not the smart one. So, let's erase this. My bad. So that is going to be 14 plus 3, which would be 17. Okay? I feel like I may have messed up somewhere else here with 96. Let's just double check. Yeah. This right here is not 14. Or not 13, it's 14. My bad. Oopsie poopsie. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, that's it. What I'd like you to do right now is to do the try these. Do the try these 5 through 8. Okay? Try these. Five through 8 all. Okay? And then what was the one mistake that I made in this video? I want to see that on your paper. What one mistake, actually I guess it was technically 2 mistakes, but it was the same mistake. I just made it twice. So what was Miss F's mistake? Okay? Also, as a quick review, this right here is a radical sign. Okay, what numbers are inside the radical sign, that is what we're finding the square root. And one more thing, hold on 1 second. The last thing to remember, squaring a number and square rooting a number are inverse operations. Okay, check it out. 2 squared equals 4. Square root of 4 equals 2. Boom. Boom. Okay? Last thing. Positive square roots. No. Every positive number has both a positive square root and a negative square root. Okay? Alright, guys. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow there, Estudiantes.